From the City of Angels, you're listening to the James Salazar Media Podcast. On this week's episode, headline from the world of futurism. So let me strike the music, and I'll meet you on the other side.
Engage.
Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Say hello to my little friend.
No, I am your father.
I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody.
And welcome to the James Salazar Media Podcast, where you get your dose of pop culture, politics, and futurism. I am the formerly mentioned James Salazar, your host, a.k.a. The Media. If you do not know what the media is, fucking figure it out. Oh, we just got out of 4th of July. Blowing shit up to celebrate our country's 245th birthday or 46th. I'm not sure. Whatever it is, I'm proud to be an American. Yeah, we just got together with my family. My wife's side of the family came over to my mom's house, and she has a pool, and we barbecued, and we watched our neighbors blow off illegal fireworks. They weren't as crazy as they were in recent years. Maybe they are the ones who were going to buy from that guy who blew up that truck in East LA. Did you see that video? They got almost like a couple hundred tons of fireworks and blew it up in like a, I guess like a bomb truck where you put it in there and ignite it. They put way too much in there and blew the shit out of the neighborhood. So good going, LAPD. You should have an expert that should have told you that much firework is gonna fuck shit up. And you can't blow it up. So whoever failed or dropped the ball on that issue, it's gonna be interesting. I'm pretty sure because they blew up like the whole neighborhood practically. Cars were flipping in the air like a freaking Michael Bay movie. So, yeah, take a look at that. That was nuts. So, yeah, we had a great 4th of July. And I went to Disneyland, or to be more exact, California Adventure. It wasn't packed at all. They had a low capacity. That Guardian of the Galaxy ride is insane, super fun, and you just drop. You just go up and down and just drop like 20 times. And say, there you go. There's the fun. You literally float in the air. You come off your seat and the seatbelt's holding you. It's nuts. It's great. I suggest you ride it. The car ride in the Cars Land, pretty awesome. You feel a couple of G's on some of those turns in those cars, even though my own car goes faster than that. It's just at the rate of the turn, you feel it in your stomach. It feels cool. Some people hate that feeling. And I don't particularly like it when it's happening, but it feels crazy. My daughter loves it. I go on things my daughter likes. That's just the way of things now. That's how we do it now. Forget about it. Looking forward to the new prequel to The Sopranos, where young Tony Soprano and everything he go through as a young child that pretty much makes him the person you see in the original Soprano TV show. That should come in October. What else am I looking forward to? There's a sci-fi show by Apple called Foundations. It's from Isaac Asimov, 1950s or 1950s science fiction writer. Pretty much everybody copies him, but they're going to redo his story called Foundations. I'm not sure if his book is called Foundations or just calling the new TV show Foundation based on his book. So, looking forward to that. Should be epic. Apple's throwing a lot of money into it, and the previews look pretty intense and pretty cool. So, I'm gonna see Black Widow, the continuing of the Marvel Cinematic Universe on the big screen. And I'll give my review in the next podcast for that. And see where it leads us. Really liking Loki and where it's going. Very entertaining. I like the situation that he's in. I like it's not the good Loki who's trying to save the universe. Well, not that he was always good, but he's still a selfish character. But they do it right when he thinks he should rule humanity. And they take him to this place called the TVA. And then I'm not going to spoil it for you. But it's really interesting. And it's funny. Well written, well acted. So jump on Loki. If you like the Marvel Cinematic Universe for sure, but just to watch good acting and just good acting, good storyline, good special effects, and they could be longer. They keep them short, but they keep you coming back. So maybe they're the ones that are smarter than all of us. We're complaining they're too short, but we keep on coming back. It's not like we're going to boycott it because they're too short, because we want more of it. So we are at their mercy, for sure. And yeah, that's about what's going on. And when I'm watching Evil again. It came second season. It does not disappoint. That's definitely a TV show you should watch. Also, Clarice was good. It gets very woke in it and it gets tiresome because I don't know. I don't like anything that makes black people act like a victim. I like when black people are triumphing over adversity when it comes to a woke issue. And they thread that line. But overall, it's a great show. And I hope it gets renewed. I enjoyed it. Also looking forward to all the Star Trek TV shows, Brave New Worlds and Discovery coming back. So just looking forward on the horizon for new exciting shows to come up. Okay, enough of that. Let's get into headlines from the world of futurism. So, where are we at today? And startup. First line. First thing first. Do I want to play some music for this? Let me see. Do I got something interesting? Where are you? Let's do this. Let's get this going right now. I got some sounds. I got some freaking sounds. What's this? Oh, no, I don't like that one. Stop it. You shut up. Nope. Startup successfully tests space hotel building robots. Orbital Assembly Corporation, a company that claims to be the first large space construction company, on its website has unveiled an early prototype robot capable of churning out parts for a ring-shaped luxury hotel that says will one day orbit the Earth. Today we achieved our milestone in validating the demonstrator structural truss assembly robot fabricator, the D-Star. The company, run by NASA veteran, has some ambitious goals it's looking to start a construction on what is called the Voyager space station as soon as 2023, a massive circular luxury hotel that spans 650 feet. By expanding the access to the hotel could allow future vacationers to experience the level of gravity similar to the moon. So that's fun. And it's pretty obvious. If you're going to build shit in space, you're going to need construction companies. And obviously, that is an avenue if you are in construction and you have the money. You should be heading towards that direction right now. There's not going to be enough construction companies to do the construction in space once space totally opens up. And we're talking in the next 2 years, space is going to open up. And whoever gets there first, whoever offers their service first, should be able to rake in the money and start their brand as one of the first to attempt to construct in space. And as you know, we've talked about that 3D printing and the advent of no gravity and ships that just can make large planes of metal that would take a crane on Earth to pick. A major crane can just be pushed with a hand or by a robot into place, riveted into whatever platform that you're creating. And things. You ever seen Star Trek? I was watching Star Trek on HBO on Netflix, and they showed Captain Kirk before he becomes Captain Kirk. When he's offered by Captain Pike to join the Starfleet, you see him in his bike go look at a ship, a constitutional class ship, the one that we normally see in Star Trek, the original, being built on the ground in like Iowa. That could never happen. Anything that big would sink into the ground. It would be literally impossible to put those panels together on the floor. And it was made for a visual for the movie. But that shit needs to be made in space. It can only be made in space. Let alone warp nacelles and artificial gravity and all the other hurdles it takes to go where no man has gone before. An 11-year-old boy from Belgium just graduated from the University of Antwerp with a bachelor degree in physics. He says, "I don't really care if I'm the youngest. It's all about getting knowledge for me." And in an eyebrow-raising twist, Simon says he plans to live forever by turning himself into a cyborg. "This is the first puzzle piece in my goal to replacing body parts with mechanical parts," Simon says, adding that his goal is immortality. "I want to be able to replace many parts as possible with mechanical parts," he added. "I mapped out the path to get there. You can see it as a big puzzle. To get started on his big puzzle, a far cry from a jigsaw, one being put together by young children, Simon is next looking to study quantum physics." Good for you, Simon. Turn yourself into a robot. That's one way to go to get immortality. I read somewhere that they've been slowly, methodically replacing different parts of a rat's brain with a synthetic part. And so they would take the part that made them react one way or what part of their brain is used for and replaced it with synthetic, and the rat seemed fine. And that's the goal. If you could replace majority of your brain, and that's the problem with cloning, is taking this old brain, place it into a new body. You know, it's like anything that's old that you put in something new. It probably won't stand the rigors of what the new body can do because it's so old. But if you can replace the brain bit by bit until you can have a full synthetic brain that harnesses your knowledge, your emotions, and all, and everything like that. And I know there's religious connotations that where's your soul? What does your soul have to do with this issue, and how does it play a part? But I'm pretty sure humanity, once we get that far into the future, will disregard the importance of the soul for living forever. And that has religious connotations for sure. Some bad and some questionable, but I mean, that's where it's going. And this kid wants to make it a robot. But if we can download the software of our soul and our memories and our mind, however you want to word it, into another mind, a clone you, then hey. And if that works, the data, because as we know right now, our universe is still made of numbers and laws. God's coding. And the more you discover how God did it, the more you can reverse engineer it. And that's what's been happening since science came about. And that's why science started with people who believed in God. Now it's walked away from that. But ultimately, you can't get God out of the equation because this world just seems too obvious, too easy and forthcoming with answers that it seems like it knew we were going to ask. It's too precise, too designed, too complicated to happen by accident. And I know the argument, but and we'll get into that argument some other time, that infinite worlds, you'll have infinite possibilities, so therefore you would have a universe that looks designed. But they never considered that this might be the universe that needs a God to design it. If infinite possibilities happen, then that's got to be a possibility also, right? So it doesn't answer anything. It doesn't change anything. All right, on to the next one. What do we have here? Elon Musk says new spacecraft will chomp up space junk. Earth's orbit is becoming increasingly littered with our leftover garbage. More than 2,700 pieces of orbital debris in various sizes are being tracked by the Department of Defense Global Space Surveillance Network that could make launching rockets increasingly difficult in the future, let alone the danger space debris poses on space travelers. But in Sunday's tweet, Elon Musk suggested that a Starship, his space company, Mars-bound spacecraft that currently in development, might be a potential solution to this problem. We can fly the spaceship around space and chomp up debris with the moving fairing doors, he tweeted. The spacecraft is designed to open two gigantic fairing doors when in orbit. So basically, there's just two doors. It's like a bird's mouth, his beak, and it opens up, and they use that to drop off satellites, and he's saying we can use that to pick up debris and take it back to Earth. But I say screw that. Just ground it all up, send it to the sun to be burned up. It'll be a nice fireworks show. Feeling very fireworky, just coming out of 4th of July. Yeah, I guess. Sounds reasonable. And what else do we have here? Here's a deadly one. CDC warns an outbreak of deadly bacteria. The Center of Disease Control Prevention announced this week it is investigating a case of a rare but deadly bacterial infection in the United States and warns that it could spread to more people. The CDC is looking into 3 cases of the Burkholderia bacteria in Kansas, Minnesota, and Texas, according to the Health Advisory Agency released on Wednesday. The patients were 2 adults and 1 child. The first case was discovered in March of this year and proved fatal. Not good. The other 2 parties were discovered in May. One is still hospitalized, while the other has been transferred to a transitional care unit. Unsettling, none of these 3 patients have a history of traveling outside the U.S. Even the agency says that the 3 might have contracted an illness from the same source, such as an imported product or animal. Not good, people. We're getting into shit. So, new thing. Underwater pipeline leaks, Gulf of Mexico, ocean catches on fire. It looks like a fiery cauldron from a Disney movie. Horrific scene unfolding in the Gulf of Mexico. That an undersea pipeline erupted today and then somehow ignited, causing the surface of the ocean to catch fire in an apocalyptic display. The horrifying videos seen tore across social media as the story broke, showing bright orange flames bubbling out of the dark ocean. Not good. It looks, they got a bunch of ships around it pouring water on the flame, but it's in the ocean. Come on, what are we doing? You're not going to put water on it when it's in water. That's not going to work. If it was on I don't know. This seems, I think you have to compression bomb on it and it stops it like they did in the back day when the oil was coming out of the ground and they couldn't stop it. You watched that show, a movie, There Will Be Blood, and they cut it off. I think it's the same way they did it in the Gulf War. So I don't know if they have an underwater compression bomb that can kill this flame, but they should do it. But I don't know about pouring more water on it when it's in water. So that don't make sense to me. But I am uneducated in this regard, so I'll defer with the experts. But it looks silly to me. Here's some crazy stuff. China is building 119 mysterious missile silos in the desert. This is not good. According to recent investigation of the commercial satellite image, China is constructing about 119 identical missile silos in the desert in the city of Yunnan in North China. Experts are worried that the project could signal a massive expansion of China nuclear capabilities, as the site contains the same features observed at other launch facilities capable of launching nuclear-tipped ballistic missiles, a grim sign of nuclear escalation. Yeah, why are they doing that? That I don't know why they feel they need to do that. I don't know. If the silos under construction at other sites across China, they are added to the count of total comes to 145 missile silos under construction. So they're, that's in one place, 119, but all over China, 145 are being newly constructed. Director of a East Asian Non-Proliferation Program at the Center of Non-Proliferation Studies, who was involved in the investigation, told the newspaper, "We believe China is expanding its nuclear forces in part to maintain a deterrent that could survive a U.S. first strike in significant numbers to defeat U.S. defenses." New one comes after Pentagon official warned back in April that China's massive expanding arsenal of intercontinental missiles. Let me see. Yeah, their range is 90,000 miles. And China's nuclear arsenal still dwarfed by the U.S. and Russia, two nations that have stockpiled more than 1,100 shit combined warheads, according to the Post. So, I mean, I guess they got a long way to go to catch up. So, that is interesting. Uber glitch makes drivers pay for their own rides. So basically, the Uber app, basically, when as a driver, you dropped off somebody and they charged you, the driver, for that passenger's ride. And a lot of drivers got upset. I'll be upset. I would want to blow off my own foot. I'll be so pissed. I would be so pissed. I go crazy. I go nuts. Yeah, just not a good look for Uber. Trying to get people to drive for them again. And, I mean, they're even offering a 1,500 signing bonus, which I don't get if I start driving again, because I'm already in. So where's my incentive, Uber? Huh? You can give me a little something. You give me a little like 100, 500, 600, maybe $700 my way to get back up and start picking up people and dropping their asses off. I can do this. Let's do this, Uber, and stop charging drivers. Get your shit together. Come on. I mean, you should be more technically advanced now. If that didn't happen when I was driving, somewhere down the line, someone's dropping the ball. Someone's watching porn on the freaking computer and not fixing the glitches. Do work, son. Fukushima, now the home of radioactive boar-pig hybrids. Dang. Shit's getting crazy out there. It's been over a decade since a massive 9.0 magnitude earthquake triggered a tsunami that caused the meltdown of a nuclear reactor in Fukushima region, ensuring evacuation that allowed local plant and animal species to thrive, reclaiming nature in the absence of humans, including among the thriving fauna, domestic pigs that have bred with wild boars to create a new hybrid. Even stranger is that some of the wild boars presented in the area may be relatively radioactive and are now being hunted to allow residents to eventually return to their homes. Crazy radioactive pig boars. Dang. I wonder if they taste good. Radioactive pig boar bacon. I'll put that in. You can sell that in. Where is that? Arizona? Where are they? Area 51? Those diners? That would be awesome. And what do we got here? Here we go. SpaceX president says orbital Starship launch is shooting for July. In a surprise announcement, SpaceX president Gwynne Shotwell said that the company could attempt the first orbital flight of its Starship spacecraft as soon as July. Shotwell made this announcement at the National Space Society International Space Development Conference, laying out an ambitious plan for the next Starship prototype. There are a chance, of course, that Shotwell's announcement was another one of those unrealistic, ambitious timelines that Elon Musk run companies are wont to make. Okay. There are plenty of hurdles left to clear before the launch can happen, but SpaceX has a history of moving quickly, and Shotwell suggests the timeline is certainly within the realm of possibilities. Yes, so let's do that. Just get it going. Get it done. Researchers identified underground lakes on Mars. It is a huge news in 2018 when scientists discovered a massive subterranean lake at the south pole of Mars. And again, they found 3 more over the next few years. But it turns out that those early studies may have undercounted the number of subterranean lakes at the Martian south pole by a substantial margin. Okay. In this latest work, researchers dove into tens of thousands of published observations of Mars' south pole and uncovered a potentially dozens of additional buried lakes, though they admit that some of their findings are ambiguous. Okay. Well, I mean, it's always good news. If we can find water up there, we don't need to take water with us up there. And it's good for long term. And it's good for long term. What am I thinking? Brain fart. It's good for long term of, what do you call that? Terraforming it. It'll take water to terraform Mars. That's like in a couple hundred years after we land there. After we land there, will we begin to start to terraform after 100 years. But I digress. Elon Musk criticizes NASA. Basically, Bill Hilson says that he supports making the Wolf Amendment. Okay. Yes. He is the head of NASA. Bill Nelson said he supports making the Wolf Amendment, a 2011 law that prohibits cooperation between NASA and the Chinese government. And Elon Musk says there's nothing wrong with healthy competition, but this seems a little over the top. Would be cool if spacecrafts could travel from one space station to another, which is much harder than it seems. So Musk is just thinking about this is let's take the politics out of it and let's make it easier have a universal docking system and where we can go back and forth and cooperate. You know, they're probably going to need a neutral ground space station where things get along, where people get along, where there can be a free exchange of ideas, yet controlled by the governments. That's probably what's going to need to happen, because they're probably not going to let anybody from a different country go into their proprietary technology, especially when we're in this new space race. And China's just known for stealing shit, repurposing it and calling it their own. So, I mean, I understand the U.S. is why they're doing that. It's to punish China for its espionage of stealing American technology. So, I don't know. I understand Elon Musk's sentiment, but we don't live in that world where people just get along. Let's get into some CRISPR shit. CRISPR treatment lowered cholesterol in monkeys by 60%. More than 1 in 3 American adults have high cholesterol, which can lead to serious health problems like heart disease and strokes. The best remedy we have right now is our cholesterol-lowering drugs called statins. A diet rich in vegetables and low fat, a good old-fashioned exercise. But in the future, there may be another way to reduce our cholesterol levels. A team of scientists from the University of Pennsylvania biotech company, Verve Therapeutics, used the gene editing tool CRISPR to lower LDL cholesterol in monkeys by 60% in just 1 week, and the monkey cholesterol stayed lower for over 8 months after a single dose of treatment. Wow. 60%. Lowering cholesterol. Somebody order me a Big Mac and a pizza right now. I got the drug that can lower the cholesterol. Because of health problems associated with too much of it, we often think of cholesterol as being a bad thing, but it's actually essential for multiple functions in the body. Cholesterol helps form protective layers of the cell membrane, and it helps the body make bile, vitamin D, and certain hormones. Okay, so there's 2 types, LDL and HDL. LDL is a bad one. HDL, but this doesn't deal with HDL. The gene called PCSK, we're going to say K9, PCSK9 is in charge of making proteins that regulate cholesterol, mainly active in the liver, and proteins that doesn't break down the cholesterol directly, but breaks down the receptors on the surface of the liver cell that binds to LDL particles. Too much K9 protein means more breakdown of receptors, which means fewer receptors standing ready on the cell to do their job of removing cholesterol from the blood. Conversely, if there is less K9 floating around in the blood, more LDL receptors will bind to the cell, and more cholesterol will get cleaned out of the system. In the study, the team manipulated K9 gene by changing a single nucleotide from A to G at a specific location. The adenine base editor, which doesn't cut the DNA strand like an original CRISPR-9 tool does, which encodes in mRNA, then injects into the monkey using lipo nanoparticles. Nanoparticles? What? These are, in the sample terms, tiny balls of fat, and were the key ingredients in the mRNA COVID-19 vaccines. What? We got nanoparticles in the COVID vaccine? What? I got little robots? It's not really robots. It seems tiny edit. This seemingly tiny edit to the gene has enough to largely disable it. The gene stops making as much K9 protein. So there are more receptors on the monkey's liver cell to absorb and break down cholesterol in the blood. The result of the monkey's LDL cholesterol levels went down by an average of 65% within a week after receiving treatment. The monkey is receiving a higher dose of treatment, but still just one injection had their LDL stay 60% lower after 8 months and continuing. All right. There we go, people. If this guy can human trials should start coming. If we can just lower our, significant amount of lives will be saved if we can get cholesterol under control through this medicine. Obviously, they're probably going to have to do it for another year. Make sure this monkey doesn't grow a third eye for whatever reason by doing this. Unforeseen things that should come up within a 2-year process, and then start the human trials, or start shooting them up in pigs and see how they do. But this is great news. It might mean fatter people because they can eat more, but fat people don't care about bad cholesterol. I don't think they're going to care about good cholesterol. They're just, they're just going to eat. So I take back that statement. It should have motivated them already not to eat bad, because cholesterol kills. At least LDL cholesterol kills. If that's not a motivator, then making it benign through this technology ain't gonna make a difference either. So, dun dun dun. Let's see here. Scientists use CRISPR to engineer new superbug that is invincible to all viruses. To synthetic biologists, the answer is yes. The central code of biology is simple DNA letters in groups of 3 are translated into amino acids, Lego blocks that make protein. Protein builds on bodies, regulating our metabolism, allowing us to function as living beings. Design custom proteins often mean that you can redesign small aspects of life. For example, getting bacteria to pump out life-saving drugs like insulin. All life on Earth follows the rules, combining 64 DNA triple codes or codons are translated into 20 amino acids. But wait, the math doesn't add up. Why wouldn't 64 dedicated codons make 64 amino acids? The reason? Redundancy. Life evolved so that the multiple codons of 10 make the same amino acids. So if we tap into those redundant extra codons of all living beings and insert our code, well, what could happen? Well, a team at the University of Cambridge did exactly that. In the technological tour de force, they used CRISPR to replace over 1,800 codons with synthetic amino acids that don't exist anywhere in the natural world. Wow. Where do they come from? A different reality? I mean, everything's come from the natural world. We have built things that don't grow out of the ground, if that's what they're trying to say. But we definitely use things that grow out of the ground to build things that don't naturally grow out of the ground. And we've taken that to where we are today. The result is that bacteria is virtually resistant to all viral infections because it lacks the normal protein door handles that viruses need to infect the cell. Awesome. Let's start testing this shit out. I mean, all viruses? But that's just the beginning of engineering life superpower. Until now, scientists have only been able to slip one designer amino acid into a living organism. The new work opens the door to hacking multiple existing codons at once, copying, editing at least 3 synthetic amino acids at the same time. And when it's 3 out of 20, that's enough to fundamentally rewrite life as it exists on Earth. All right, well, let's don't get too crazy with it. I mean, only improvements, right? Keep us resistant. And obviously, human body is pretty shitty because it's not made for space. And as we go out into space, we're going to need to CRISPR, genetically engineer a more stronger, vibrant body to traverse the stars, and get rid of bugs and lower our cholesterol. CRISPR is going to, I know a lot of people had a lot of worry about it, but it is coming out to be the savior of the human race when it comes to fighting disease and crazy bacteria, as well as advancing human life full potential. Let's see what we have here. China and Russia announced their future plan for the moon, including a human base. In the coming years, the multiple space agencies will be sending astronauts to the moon for the first time since the closing days of the Apollo program. For NASA, this will represent a long-awaited return to the moon, while every other space agency will see it as a tremendous step for their space program. One thing they all have in common is that the one thing they have in common this time around, the goal is to build a necessary infrastructure that will allow for long-term human presence. So, however, amid all the excitement of the approaching moment in history are concerning by the lack of international framework will ensure our efforts are for the sake of all mankind. Where NASA seeks partners with the Artemis program through bilateral agreements, and that's mostly with Europe, Russia and China are pursuing their own agreements. They call the International Lunar Research Station, and they too are looking for partners in this endeavor. The detailed plan for the ILRS was made public with these International Lunar Research Guideline partnerships. The document prepared by China's national agency on June 16, 2021, as a first volume in which is clearly an evolving mission architecture. The guide lays out the purpose and intent of the Sino-Russian agreement and establish a roadmap and timeline for the ILR development. Okay, so they're going to the moon too. As we're going to moon, so most likely there's going to be two space agencies in space, and it's going to be pretty much segregated between societies that are Western, basically Cold War formations. China and Russia are going to be on one side, America and free nations on the other. It's the same shit for the last 100 years. Communism, the idea that people should be controlled, or the other half of people should govern themselves, and everybody in the middle. And where you are in the degree of the middle towards the right or to the left, probably is going to depend upon, it probably will dictate what side you're going to be on. Some societies believe that people should be somewhat controlled, but they should be free. And you got America, who's struggling right now with the idea of people governing themselves and freedoms dictated by the Constitution. And then you got Russia, who says, well, you're going to do what I tell you. And you're going to live the life that I tell you and suck it up. So we're going to take that into space. So don't be surprised. Here we go. Dream comes true. First ever luxury space hotel near launch. Okay. The Orbital Assembly Corporation, a space construction firm run by the NASA veteran, announced in a press statement today, June 24th, and that's not today, that is successfully demonstrated its technology to developing the first space hotel. The company carried out a demonstration during the official opening of its Fontana, California facility, which will serve as the main headquarters to aim to make a luxury space hotel a reality before 2030. So 8 years. The Orbital Assembly, which pegs itself as the first large-scale space construction company, is developing a semi-autonomous robot builders that will eventually be sent to space to build a large-scale structure such as its planned Earth orbital space hotel. The firm goal is to build a Voyager space station, VSS, a circular luxury space hotel with a diameter of 650 feet and simulate gravity similar to the levels on the moon. Okay, so it's not going to be so. I'm not sure if that's testing technology that if you spin a wheel in space that it's going to create gravity. I hope it does. You probably might. You don't know how fast it will have to spin, and it might be. You might have to spin it so fast that the structure might break apart. So we'll see what happens there, but that's sort of cool. You have the gravity of the moon, so you'll be able to like jump and have a little bit more lift than the normal in space because the moon has gravity. I mean, I hope this happens. But part of being luxury, you're going to have some good food. You're going to have to put a great chef up there. Let's see what else they have. They might, I wonder if they can build a pool. I don't know if that will work. People go swimming in. They got to have a spa, right? You get your hair done, looking over space. And you got to have a dining room. I mean, I hope they're really thinking about this. Maybe some gambling. I don't know. Roulette. But I mean, I guess it would be good to spend a week just looking out the window in space and eating, what do you call it? Astronaut food. That might be appealing within itself. Just getting your ass up there is going to cost a lot. I'm pretty sure. Well, as well as, I mean, they're going to be spending $1 billion on this, so it's going to cost you a pretty penny. It's probably, I would say, about $100,000 for a week. And if you can get there safely and they're doing it and people like it, it would be booked for like 10 years. So that's interesting. Hope it happens. And let me see. What do I want? We're getting close. I don't want to be coming on the hour mark here. Don't want to. A lot of things here. We're going to start going through them quickly, people. Newly discovered dwarf planet will come surprisingly close in 2031. That was on Universal Today. Space News report back. NASA proposed to change astronauts' radiation exposure limits. In Futurism, physicists warn that contacting aliens could end all life on Earth because they might be aggressive or they might carry diseases, most likely. Hawaiian cops spent COVID relief money on robot dogs. Why not? Those are the Boston Dynamic dogs. That's on Futurism. Academics ban the killer slaughter bots before we all die. Okay, so they have these killer. What do you call them? Damn, what do you call them? Shit, I gotta go into it because I can't remember a certain word. What's the word? Use non-lethal autonomous weapon system according to you should immediately be ceased. Nations around the world should sign a treaty to make sure that killer robots will never be used. To send the message home, Future of Life Institute, non-profit focus on educating the world on the risk of AI and nuclear weapons, and put together a video released in 2017, co-signing by authors of the IEEE Spectrum Post. Slaughter bots. You know, those bots will fly in the air, you know? Put guns on them and your ass is toast. Leave it up. You know. Hold on. Chalk one up for our robot overlords.
Citizens of the Earth, you will be destroyed.
Okay. Professor says alien spacecrafts have dropped sensors. I don't know how he would know that. First patient injected with cancer vaccine is in phase 2 trial. Well, we might have to read some of this. Preclinical and early clinic data shows that the vaccine is safe enough to progress along clinical research pipeline. Okay. Injecting, so, all right. Biotech. So now biotech plans to measure how well the vaccine, in concert with the medication Libtayo, works as a treatment for severe cases of skin cancer. Okay. So we might have something that's being pushed on to phase 2. So let's hope that if we can cure skin cancer, you can read this on futurism.com. That's ideal. Okay. Scary parasite is spreading from dogs to human. Okay, Scruffy, your ass is gone. Scientist says early Chinese COVID data was mysteriously deleted. No shit. Barack Obama's humans could be extinct in 100 years. Oh my God, dude. Why are you so negative? He's so upset that he's not president no more. Burning satellites could accidentally geoengineer the Earth. Okay. Congress asked if changing the moon orbit could fight climate change. No, you can't change. You can't move the freaking moon, you moron. I don't care what party you're from, you're an idiot. No one. Oh no, oil companies are paying social media influencers. Yeah, get that cash, influencers. World Strong and Magnet could help make fusion energy a reality. Ooh, that's crazy. Jeff Bezos is helping build a fusion power plant in the UK. Good for him. I guess he doesn't want to do that shit on where he made his money in America. So screw you. Earth suffers a regular cycle of horrific catastrophes. Yes, we know this. We can see them all over the Earth. We're due for some. This is why we have to be a space-bearing race. We can't have all our marbles on our Earth that's due for extinction, either through a super volcano or meteor strike. We got to have people on Mars and the Moon and other parts of the planet so the human race continues on. Brain reading machine detects who you have a crush on. What? A new computer interface system trained to pick up on a neutral activity of your brain when it sees a new person's face is sophisticated enough to predict who you will or won't be attracted to. Okay. Well, how can that work in an app, right? So you have an app that shows you a bunch of faces, a bunch of women. Let's just take this for a man. And it reads how your brain, and then it filters out everybody. That's ugly. So everybody would have models. Very few people. Because it's who you're attracted to, not who you think you can get. McDonald's replaces drive-thru human workers with Siri-like AI. That was bound to happen. Google DeepMind says it has all the tech it needs to generate AI. Well, okay, so it's just telling you, hey, if you want to do it, we can do it. We can make an AI right now. We can do it. We have all the technology. If you just tell us when, we'll do it, okay? You know, because people look down on them for that. China Canon employee must smile at the face recognition camera before returning to work. Well, that's China. I mean, what are you going to do? Smile or you lose your job. Wants the world's first flying race car take flight for the first time. Okay. China releases plans for a permanent base on Mars. Of course. They're going to do everything what we're going to do, and if they can, they're going to try to beat us there. And last but not least, military reports say Space Force must prepare for moon warfare. When former reality TV star and U.S. President Donald Trump formed the new branch of the military called the Space Force, it wasn't exactly clear what it would accomplish or how its existence would impact existing peace treaties to prevent military activity in space. For better or for worse, we now seem to be approaching some answers. According to the new report by the Air Force Research Laboratory Space Vehicle Directive, the time has come for the Space Force to treat the moon and surrounding areas as new militarized fronts. The report, which is comprised of a series of recommendations by industries and academic experts arguing that the military needs to expand its reach beyond Earth, according to both governments and private space programs continue to grow. So this is obvious. You know, when you have a president of a country like Vladimir Putin and their aggressions on Earth, trying to take it over old Soviet pieces of land that the old Soviet Union took, and that was given back when they fell. Now they want them back. This type of aggression can only continue in space. Same thing with China. China's building silos, and they're going to go to the moon with us, and they're going to militarize, so we need to militarize. And it's sad. We don't want that to happen. We want this space to be a place where none of the issues on Earth continue in space. But we don't live in that world. We just don't. I wish we did. But why do people need guns? It's not just to have guns. It's because there are people, there is evil out there. Why do we protect ourselves? Why do we have wars? To stop evil people. Why do we have the military? You know, for the longest time, the world was lucky that the United States was the most powerful nation on earth. If it was China or Russia, shit would be different. Way different. And we're not perfect. And we have our problems, we have our issues, and we have gotten to things out of good intentions that made things worse. But we pretty much, once we got into the 70s, got past our global agenda for domination, manifest destiny. Russia and China, they still have it. They still got that mentality. And until they give up their mentality, America needs to protect itself and its allies, and might be called upon at certain times, now and then, to be the police of the world. Now we're going to space, and everything's at an even pace. Everybody's at the same level. Whoever can get there first. And now, technologically, because of our history of space travel and our respect and usage of the free market, and people like Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk and Sir Richard Branson, we are ahead of these nations that don't adopt a free market. And that's just a fact. But whoever can get there first, whoever can get access to the water first, game changers. You may be powerful on Earth, but up here, we're all the same. And that could lead to military conflict and confrontations. Something to think about. At the end of the day, Donald Trump, making the Space Force, knew that the economy of the future will be in space. And the economy on Earth will be supporting the economy in space. Everything will be about space. And if we are not setting up the foundation to support and protect our assets, which Russia and China are military states, they're already doing that. Just everybody's a part of the military. If you're a part of the government, America had to create a force. And thanks to Donald Trump, we do have one. And let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. I mean, if you're going to join the military, join the Space Force. If you want to be the cutting edge of technology and warfare, if you want to get into battles, that's where it's going to be next. Mark my words. So I'm going to end it there, my friends. Hey, please subscribe to the podcast. Please leave a review. Also, you can follow me on all the social media platforms, majority of them. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and LinkedIn. If you have any questions or any statements about anything I said during the podcast, please put it in jamessalazarmedia@gmail.com. I'd like to read it and address it online. On the next podcast. So, until then, my friends, if the storm of life come against you and you find yourself on your knees, I want you to stand tall and take a look at the storm and say what my sensei, Jack Burton, always says. Give me your best shot. Strike the music.